Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named Ascend the Soul titled You Lifted Me Up. And if we switch over to here, we have my first music review of 2022. Happy New Year to anyone watching this. I imagine that by the time this gets uploaded, it will be the middle of January and people will be well into either succeeding or not succeeding with their New Year's resolutions. I'm 50-50 on mine. But we're going to listen through this track, which is the first single from their upcoming album, Beneath Your Wings. Album artwork created by James Kane and Matthew Conrad. Album artwork inspired by Danny Compton. Lyrics and music by Matthew Conrad. Vocals, Matthew Conrad. Guitar and bass, Breno Machado. Machado or Machado? Machado. Either of those two. So we're going to listen through this track from start to finish and hear what we think. Let's go. Okay, I'm liking this kind of alt rock vibe. Reminds me of mid-2000s alt rock. Liking it's an interesting combination of tones here. You've got the piano and the guitar and the bass. I can hear the bass and it's kind of subtle in the drums. I'm liking those octave chords though. They're kind of sweet. 5-minute track, so we'll see what happens. Oh, hang on, just so that you can see more of the video. Okay, 4 chord progression. Cool. Okay, so I get the feeling this is about the vocalist is talking directly to another person who's helped them to feel better or brought them out of a hole. So that you lift me up is definitely the hook line. We're really sticking with that hook line. That's okay. I was not expecting to go for 5 and then go into a new section. That's kind of cool. I like when we switch things up a little bit.
You bring me back to life, yes, you bring me back to life. And when I feel your healing presence, you bring me back to life, yes, you bring me back to life.
The vocals are very dominant in the mix, but that's okay. You can hear the guitars, and it's a nice full-sounding mix. There's some interesting positions in regards to the stereo panning of the instruments, but that's fine. So far, I'm enjoying the experience. Okay, we got some interesting lead guitar harmonies there, followed by a singular one. Some development on the guitar parts. I'll just be right back. I've just realized it's like 30 degrees today and I need some water. I'll be right back. And we'll just go back to the start here, just to get context for the whole second verse. Yeah, I am liking the tension created by that lead guitar on the right. Going up in the higher part of his range, doing some interesting legato stuff with his voice. We got a similar drum groove that's been persistent throughout the verse, but I kind of dig it. Okay, great, this is kind of nice. This is kind of lovely, isn't it? Alright, a little uplifting, positive. There's a beautiful overall tonality to this section. I'm really enjoying it. This is my favorite part of the song. It's very sweet and kind of pretty, and the textures are working really well together. They layer well. Oh, Going back into the darkness, both. Oh, we got some of that stuff happening on the left side of the leads as well. Breakdown? I'm liking the tone of the guitars. It sounds like there might be a filter on them. Like they sound like they could potentially be a little bit brighter frequency wise, but I understand that it's also can potentially be a stylistic thing. You know, if you darken the guitar, rhythm guitars a little bit, it helps the lead guitarist to stand out. Nice bluesy unicorns. Oh, shred. I like the free flow of that. I like the attitude of that. I think that's great. It's a very sassy little arrangement they have there. When the singer for this song keeps things simple with his vocal melodies, they work well with the rest of the instruments. I like it when he's nice and straightforward with his delivery there. I think it's one that a lot of people will be able to relate to. I think it's something that's highly personable. I know people personally that have lifted me out of dark spaces, you know. This is a song that a lot of people will relate to. Yeah, I'm liking how well this rhythm riff loops. And it just brings you back to the root note. And it's just so warm and caring and affectionate and reasonably authentic. And I think is, you know, the... send the soul beneath your wings. Sweet. So that's the big finish. That's the focus there is the album. I think that, like, if we're being honest, the song makes a lot of sense from, like, even a branding standpoint. It's like an angel picking you up and sort of like putting you on a cloud or something. With this person being on cloud 9 and appreciating them for who they are, I think that's really sweet. What a lovely song to start 2022 with, because I've taken a week off with these reviews. I needed to have some time off because 2021 was an absolute festering pile for many reasons, and I'm glad to be back. Well done. Well done to Ascend the Soul with this track, You Lifted Me Up. I can only hope that I'm big on the screen now. I will go back to the album artwork. Can I get a clear? Okay, let's go through my little conclusion that I like to do. I like to talk about... So I think I've already established what I think the song is about, that the song is effectively about someone telling someone how much they appreciate them being in their life. You know, it's saying, hey, look, you've done all this good stuff for me to help me to get to where I am today. And you're part of the reason that I keep going. And I'm thankful and grateful for that. And that gratitude is honestly one of the positives, the highlights of this track. I think it's a really, you know, as long as it's not bordering on codependence, I think that it's a really healthy thing to write a song about, you know. There's a lot of songs about people sad about the people they've lost and stuff, or the people that are about arguments, about fighting and all that kind of garbage and breakups. But to have songs like this, which are not sort of like straightforward, like, oh, I love you, you're amazing, rah, rah, rah. It gives the like reasons why that is. I think that development's fantastic. So that's great. I'm not saying that this is the first song that's done that, but it's a great sort of option for someone who wants to write sort of a song like whether it be a love song or just a token of affection, you know? The singer portrayed the story really well. I think he genuinely cares about the person that he's singing about, whether it's a person or people. And I think that he emoted incredibly well throughout this performance. It seemed, again, very genuine and authentic. There was little bits of vocal ornamentation here and there, but I think the star of the show was basically the overall vibe of it as well as the story. And by vibe, I mean what happened with the rest of the instruments as well. I mean, like, we have a track, we have the guitars, the drums, the bit of piano stuff I think in there as well maybe, but definitely vocals and bass. And the cornerstone, the key elements of rock and alt rock and that stuff. And I mentioned the mid-2000s vibe. I got that the entire time, you know, maybe the musicians involved grew up at that point. Maybe it's still like, maybe a bit earlier. I'm not trying to say that the 2000s were the first time that people did octave chords on the guitar. But it's really fantastic music, and I'm really happy with it. And for the most part, the instrumental performances are really top-notch. Like with the vocals, where we occasionally had backing vocals, which most of the time were pretty much in sort of like in sync with each other. There were parts where maybe like the guitar was a little bit out for the drums or something like that. But before we sort of say, oh no, I think that's fine. I think that gives a more human experience than if someone's being really like trying to beat match it and trying to make it all squeaky clean and polished and pristine and sterile. I think it's really important for music to have the performance in it. And no performance is perfect, and no recording is perfect. I think that, you know, in terms of the song structure, song structure is tricky. I need to figure out. I think for future reviews, the song structure will go after the story. I'll do that, but song structure effectively, you know, you had the verse, you had a couple of verses, you had like a bridge or something between the first two verses, and then you had chorus, and then a solo section and a chorus. So you had like A, B, A, C, D, C sections, which was kind of different. I'm not used to that. I think that's a good thing. I think it's nice to switch up the standard fare of a track. We repeated that hook line quite a lot, and it was present throughout. I think that's a good thing as well. I think as well, just as I mentioned, that the production, you know, like the production, I think was reasonably good. There are some resonances and some frequency spectrums that I think maybe hid some of the finer elements of some of the instruments within the mix. Like that guitar solo, it sounded like there was a lot of bass going on in there, and I think that there maybe if that isn't already being done already, maybe just double checking the filtering of the lower frequencies there, because sometimes you can kind of get away with removing a bit of the low end. If that was already done already, that's fine, and I'm not gonna tell someone how to mix their music, but I noticed that there were some parts where there were some instruments which were noticeably quieter than others, and especially with the guitar solo, you want that bad boy to be slick in the middle, and you want people to hear it. And it can be tricky to get the balance right. But I think that still it was reasonably well mixed and mastered, and I'm really happy that I got the opportunity to listen to it. But this is effectively my review of Ascend the Souls. You lifted me up. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I did enjoy my time with this track. At 5 minutes, Crowley couldn't have gone on for any longer than this. The song was as long as it needed to be. I don't imagine there would have been any extra benefit by repeating the main points of the story. Considering we had a solo and everything like that, it wasn't boring. I enjoyed the track, but I think that they chose a good length to communicate it, and especially because we had the flip sides, the A and B sections of him talking about where he was, and then see the uplifting part where it went blue, where like we're talking about, oh, you're this person to me, and you know, we had the bad and then the good, and I think that's okay for a 5-minute track. I'm again fairly happy with this track, and again, thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed the music, feel free to go check out Ascend the Soul's various social medias and YouTube page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And please do go check out the album of these guys, Beneath Your Wings, if you're interested. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spider hands up.